Hello and welcome to Mr. Nyvall's Algebra Intro. You made it again. Here's the algebra intro for our Chapter 1, Variables and Expressions. So this is basically the guidelines for algebra, and this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this right here and this right here, which is really important that you understand this. So let's go on. Variable. A variable is why people get scared of algebra. All it is a letter or symbol used to represent a value that can change. Now that could be A through Z, it could be a square, it could be an arrow, it could be even a smiley face, like this guy right here. It's just whatever you want to represent a letter, represent a value like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Now, it's a value that can change. Because why would you just want to represent 2? That wouldn't make sense. You would just put a 2 there. So you want the variable to represent something to change, and that's what algebra is. We're trying to find variables that change, and we're trying to see if it's just one number or it could be a set of numbers. So it's like a puzzle. It's nothing to be scared of. All they are numbers that we're trying to find. So we're just trying to solve a puzzle. A constant. Constants are numbers that don't change. So like a 2 or like a 3. Now every algebraic expression, every expression has some type of constant, whether it be 0, the square roots, fractions, regular numbers like integers, anything like that. Constants are values that never change. They're always constant. Alright, numerical expressions. Numerical expressions are a way that we can express math. Expression, that's what it is for algebra, is something that we can express our numbers or express operations dealing with numbers. Now, numerical expression, it just deals with numbers and operations, or constants and operations, because constants are numbers that never change. Operations like plus, minus, multiply, divide. So numerical expression only deals with constants and operations. Algebraic expression may contain variables, operations, and constants. So that's when we throw in like A or B or C, or we throw in a smiley face. Anything like that with operations and variables, with operations and constants, are algebraic expressions. That's mainly what we deal with in algebra. Hence the word algebraic. Alright, let's go on. Different operational expressions. Now you've seen these. You know these. But it never fails that somebody's going to mess up sometime with these operations. Especially with this one right here. That's the most difficult one because of this phrase right here. People always get it confused. Now we're going to talk about it. So let's go on. Plus. It literally means plus, or sum of, or increased by. Now there's other ways you can express the plus sign. There's other ways you can express each one of these. But these are the most common ways to express them and the most consistent ways. Other ways are not true to the plus sign. In other words, they could mean something different. It just depends on the circumstance that they're being provided with. So you have to really get to know the story before you know if it's a plus or a minus or multiply and divide. Now as you can tell, what I did here is I made this one and this one both blue, different shades of blue. And the reason why I did that is because sometimes these are mixed up because they're both getting bigger, usually. Unless there's negatives involved, they're usually getting bigger, plus and multiplying. And I also made these two different shades of red because they're also like getting smaller, dividing, subtraction. Now a minus sign, the red sign right here, is the one that most people get confused by. It means minus, difference of, less than, decreased by. Now I'm going to show you later on why this one right here confuses everybody. Everybody knows minus. And the difference of means Subtraction, because you're taking the difference. What's the difference between 5 and 2? It's 3. Decrease by, you're making it smaller. Now, decrease by, sometimes, depending on the wording, might be division. Oops, not right there. Might be division. But most of the time, it's subtraction. Alright, let's go on. Multiplying means multiply, times, equal groups of, product of. Now, the one that trips people up on this one, equal groups of and product of. Remember, product of is multiplying because it's a product. It's something you've developed. Quotient is dividing. It's getting less than. You're taking away the groups. Multiplying is putting groups together. It's equal groups of. Quotient is taking them apart. So remember that. Product of is multiplying. Quotient is dividing. Now, equal groups of, whenever you're multiplying, that's all you're doing is you're taking equal groups of things and putting them together. So 2 and 3. 2 times 3. You're taking 2 and you're putting 3 equal groups together. So that's 2, 2, and 2, which is 6. Now, dividing is only expressed by divide by and quotient of. That's pretty easy. Divide by and quotient of. Let's go on. So here's some examples. Example 1 is x plus 3. Now you can just simply write x plus 3, and that's one of the ways you can write it. Now this one I did a little differently. I didn't use x. I used a variable. You can use x, but in this case I just wanted you to see a different way. So the sum of a variable and 3. A variable is increased by 3. That's 2 different ways you can write it. Now example 2 is multiplying. 2 times y. You see how I did the variable y instead of saying a variable is multiplied by 2 or 2 times a variable. You can just use y. That's fine. Unless it's otherwise expressed. Now 2 times y also can be written as the product of 2 and y. Now, example 3 is a subtraction. This is the one that everybody gets confused on. So, m minus 7 means you're taking m and you're subtracting 7. 7 less than m. Now, you see how that's different. This is in a different order because you're taking 7 less than m. In other words, you're taking m and subtracting 7 from it. That's where everybody gets confused. So, don't forget that. This kind of swaps them around. Then you have the difference of m and 7 is another way to write it. Alright, last example is division. K divided by 5. Well, another way of writing that is k divided by 5. That's how you read it usually. That means k is on top of the fraction bar and then 5 is underneath. The quotient of k and 5 means that k is on top and 5 is on bottom. It's the way you write it. In the order it goes. A lot of people will try to do this. And that's not right, because k is first and then 5. Alright, evaluate. This is the last thing. I know this is a long video. Let's get through it. Evaluate. To find a value. Most of you already know what this is, but I need you to know this word right here. Evaluate. To find a value. So for an example, evaluate x plus y when x is equal to 8 and y is equal to 5. So you're going to substitute values of x and y into the expression. So let's go on. X equals 8 and y equals 5. So what you're going to do here is you're going to substitute x in for 8 in for x and 5 in for y. So this was an 8 and this is a 5. And you get 13. We just evaluated it. We just found the value. Another example, evaluate x divided by z, or the quotient of x and z. If x is 8 and z is 2, what is x divided by z? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to substitute in Z is 2, X is 8. And what do we get? 8 divided by 2, which is 4. Pretty easy, right? This concludes our lesson today. And I can't wait to see y'all tomorrow, Tuesday. For group work. Have a nice day. Hope you had a great weekend. Bye.